There is a region of the ocean that does not appear on any official map. It has no fixed borders, no legal recognition, and no agreed-upon dimensions. And yet, it has become one of the most famous places on Earth. For generations, this stretch of water has been blamed for the disappearance of ships, planes, and people. Stories of malfunctioning compasses, sudden storms, and vessels that never returned have transformed it into a symbol of danger. A place where the normal rules of navigation seem to break down. This is the Bermuda Triangle. But there is a problem with that reputation. Millions of ships and aircraft pass through this region every year without incident. Entire trade routes cross it daily. So why this place? Why here? And how did a loosely defined part of the Atlantic Ocean become one of the most enduring mysteries in modern history? To answer that, we need to go back long before the name existed. The Bermuda Triangle is said to lie in the North Atlantic Ocean, roughly between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Even that description is flexible. Depending on the source, its total area ranges from 500,000 to over 1.5 million square miles. The shape changes, the boundaries shift, and that uncertainty turns out to be important. Because when the borders are unclear, so are the numbers. There is no definitive list of how many ships or planes have vanished here, or even which incidents should count. Yet the stories persisted, slowly accumulating over centuries, beginning with one of the most famous voyages in history. In 1492, Christopher Columbus crossed the Atlantic on his first journey to the Americas. In his logs, later translated and studied, he noted strange observations. His compass readings appeared inconsistent. He described unusual lights on the horizon. To modern readers, these entries seem vague and easily explained. But at the time, when much of the world was still unknown, they carried weight. They suggested something was different about these waters. Over the following centuries, ships were lost across the Atlantic for many reasons: storms, navigation errors, structural failures. But when incidents occurred in this particular region, they began to attract special attention. Each story added another layer to a growing legend. One of the earliest widely cited cases occurred in 1609, when the English ship Sea Venture was caught in a hurricane and wrecked near Bermuda. The crew survived, but the event helped brand the islands as dangerous and cursed. Even William Shakespeare would later refer to Bermuda as a vexed place in the tempest. By the 19th century, stories became more elaborate. In 1881, a ship known as the Ellen Austin reportedly encountered an abandoned vessel drifting silently at sea. According to later accounts, a salvage crew boarded the ship, only for both the crew and the vessel to disappear during a storm. When the ship was sighted again, it was empty once more. It is a chilling story, and it is also almost certainly fiction. Historical shipping records show that the Ellen Austin completed its journey without incident. There is no contemporary evidence that the events described ever occurred, but by the time these discrepancies were pointed out, the story had already taken on a life of its own. That pattern would repeat itself many times. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive U.S. Navy cargo ship carrying over 300 people, vanished while traveling from Barbados to Baltimore. No distress signal was received. No wreckage was found. It remains the largest non-combat loss of life in U.S. naval history. The disappearance was deeply unsettling. Even President Woodrow Wilson remarked that only God and the sea knew what had happened. Cases like this gave the mystery real emotional weight. These were not rumors or folklore. These were documented losses, and they demanded explanations. Then came the event that would define the Bermuda Triangle for generations. In December 1945, 5 U.S. Navy training aircraft, known as Flight 19, took off from Florida on a routine navigation exercise. During the flight, the leader reported that his compass was malfunctioning and that he could no longer recognize his surroundings. Radio transmissions became increasingly confused. Eventually, contact was lost. All 5 planes disappeared. Later that day, a rescue aircraft sent to search for them also vanished. The official report famously stated that it was as if the planes had flown to Mars. For many, this was the moment when coincidence turned into something more sinister. Ships, planes, military crews, all gone without explanation. And now, for the first time, mass media was ready to connect the dots. In 1964, writer Vincent Gaddis published an article that would change everything. He drew a triangle on a map between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, and claimed that an unusual number of disappearances had occurred within it. He called it the Bermuda Triangle. The idea spread rapidly. Books followed. The most successful, published in the 1970s, sold millions of copies and introduced increasingly speculative explanations. Atlantis, time warps, alien abductions, underwater energy fields. The more dramatic the theory, the better it sold. But something important was missing from almost all of these accounts: comparison. Ships and planes disappear all over the world. Storms sink vessels in the South China Sea. Aircraft crash in the Mediterranean. Entire fleets have been lost in far more dangerous waters. Yet no one drew triangles around those regions. So what happens when we stop telling stories and start looking at data? Modern shipping records provide a clear picture. Tens of thousands of commercial vessels pass through the Bermuda Triangle every year. When researchers examined decades of global marine casualty data, they found that incidents in this region closely matched global averages. In some cases, they were actually lower. Between 1982 and 2015, not a single incident classified as a mysterious disappearance was recorded in the Bermuda Triangle. A similar pattern appears in aviation data. The vast majority of accidents in the region occur during takeoff and landing, not in mid-air over open ocean. Since the 1960s, there has been only one documented commercial flight incident directly over Bermuda, and it resulted in minor injuries, not fatalities. Even the famous case of Flight 19 looks different under scrutiny. Transcripts show that the lead pilot believed he was over the Florida Keys when he was actually over the Bahamas. He flew east instead of west, deeper into the Atlantic, until the planes ran out of fuel. Later investigations suggest this was not the first time he had become disoriented during a flight. In other words, it was likely human error. What about the science-based theories? The idea that compasses behave strangely in the Bermuda Triangle is often repeated. It is true that the line where magnetic north aligns with true north once passed near the region, but that line moves over time. Today, it lies far to the west. Navigators have always accounted for magnetic variation, and there is no evidence that it caused widespread confusion. Rogue waves are real, but they occur in many oceans, not just here. The Gulf Stream is powerful, but it is well mapped and understood. Methane gas releases exist, but there is no evidence linking them to historical ship losses in this area. None of these factors are unique to the Bermuda Triangle, and that leads to the most uncomfortable conclusion of all. There is nothing statistically unusual about this region of the ocean. Its reputation comes not from physics or geography, but from storytelling, from the human tendency to connect unrelated events, from selective reporting. from the way mystery sells better than probability. The Bermuda Triangle did not become famous because it was dangerous. It became dangerous because it was famous. And yet, the myth persists, because we want there to be places on Earth that still defy explanation. We want the map to have gaps. We want the feeling that something unknown might still be hiding just beyond the horizon. But sometimes, the truth is quieter than the legend. The Bermuda Triangle is not a gateway, or a curse, or a tear in reality. It is a heavily traveled part of the Atlantic Ocean, shaped by weather, human error, and history. And in a world where so much feels unpredictable, there is something oddly comforting about discovering that one of our greatest mysteries was never really a mystery at all.